All right, I want to talk a bit about AEW this week and the go home show for Full Gear, and what a bonkers ending that was. Uh, I don't want to get into every single segment. I want to talk about the things that worked. The women's division's getting better. Jamie Hayter, who I had no idea who she was before her first match, where she lost to Britt Baker, and now this week she was in a tag match. I like that girl a lot, and I think she's got a ton of potential. I think if you're looking at somebody the crowd could really dislike, I think she's it. I think her way of playing to the crowd is excellent. Uh, in some instances, wrestlers don't do that anymore, and it's weird because if you can get the crowd to boo you, you're doing something right. So she does it very well. Shanna, I'm still on the fence with. I don't know. She's now I guess 0-2. Riho again. I feel like having her in the ring with her teacher in this pay per view. Uh, I don't think that's the feud that's going to get her really completely totally over, but it should be a great fun match, and that's the important thing. I thought Private Party being added to the tag title match, well, it makes it a triple threat. I'm not a huge fan of triple threat tag matches, but this one should be a lot of fun. And it means it's something different. So it's not just SCU versus Lucha Bros again. And we'll see when Christopher Daniels comes back and how that changes things, if it changes anything at all with SoCal Uncensored. But SCU looks pretty good, and I thought it was fun seeing them on commentary and then go into the ring and all that. The Kenny Omega and John Moxley storyline really this week for me, it hit where I thought it needed to, which is that these guys clearly are going to fight with each other, but they also admit they have some of the same enemies. So when the inner circle is attacking the elite, and they decide to they decide to attack Omega, and Moxley's in the ring, so you might as well attack him too. And then Moxley and Omega are working together, and then when they're done eliminating their opposition, then they start fighting with each other and they fight their way off. I love that. And you don't see that. I can't think of how often you see that in wrestling anymore, where two guys are fighting with each other. Basically, go, all right, no, wait a sec, we got to beat these guys up first, and then we'll fight each other after. All right, cool. And so I love that, because what it does is it means neither of them has to technically be a heel, neither has to be the bad guy, and it adds a whole new layer. Now, the one thing that everybody's talking about coming out of this show was the Cody Rhodes promo for his match with Jericho, and it was fantastic. It really was, and I think the fact that The Rock tweeted out about it after was great. I think that adds some credence to just how good their product is, and the fact that Dwayne Johnson's watching. Somewhere Cody's going, if we could get The Rock to show up just once, just one little, if we could find some kind of a loophole in his deal with WWE, if we could talk him into even just being in the crowd, even just being at ringside, just waving to the camera, just something to get him there, we could draw more eyeballs to the product. So that was great, and Cody's promo was spot on. And what I like is that the promos that were cut first by him, and then Jericho's, which was hilarious. First having Jake Hager not say anything. Then you have Sammy Guevara saying he's the youngest AEW champion ever. You get Virgil in there as well. And that was really funny. Talking about how he's the greatest and he's awesome and the greatest ever. They also said that he was in his prime at 48. And they really played with it, and then they showed Jericho in the tub and a little bit of the bubbly and the whole thing. It was just, everything was done with that, and how playful and comical they played it. After after Cody Rhodes' amazing promo in the ring, I thought they played off of each other very, very well. And they build the pay-per-view very, very well. They really do. Pac, amazing, as always. I thought that his work was fantastic this week as well. I can't find a weakness. It is odd, the barbed wire wrap broom. I get it. I'm wearing it, right? The cleaner. But it's still weird, the barbed wire wrap broom. But anyways, other than the fact these guys don't actually hit each other with the barbed wire wrapped objects, because it's on TV and it's TV 14, but we don't want to push it. The blood they're going to save for the actual pay-per-views. It's fine. I thought it was nice when Sean Spears is in the ring and he's going to, throw a guy through a chair, Brandon Cutler, onto the chair that was in the ring, that Joey Janela comes out and makes the save. I thought that was nice, and it builds to their match nicely. So they did a pretty good job with the build, and again, the schmoz at the end, Dusty would have been proud. Dusty Rhodes would have been so proud of that finish to the show. That was absolutely amazing and fantastic. Now, we know at some point MJF is going to turn on Cody. At some point, MJF is going to be the most over villain in the company. We also are well aware that because Jake Hager's in there as the not talking tough guy for Jericho, eventually at some point, those two are going to end up against each other. It's an old wrestling standard that your big guy who comes in to protect the little guy, eventually they're going to be against each other. And that dates back to, I want to say, Big Bubba Rogers back in NWA, before it was WCW, before he was better known as the Big Boss Man. Yeah, Big Bubba Rogers. And I remember him being, at ringside and just standing there. And he had the sunglasses and he had the suit. And that first time he got in the ring, he takes off sunglasses, takes off the jacket, and you're like, oh my God, Bubba Rogers is going to get involved. Oh my God. Like, it felt like a big deal. So the fact that they're doing that with Hager, it's a little different because Bubba Rogers at the time was not a well-known wrestler on any level. And, we all know who Jack Swagger is, now Jake Hager. It's going to be pretty awesome when these guys make their turns, as long as it's done well. And it's being done pretty well. The only outlier that I can see, the only one item in this show that I watch, and I'm still wondering what's going on, Brandy Rhodes is a talented wrestler. She's not fantastic, but she's talented. And she is striking. She's a very beautiful woman. And she's Cody's wife, and she's out there with Cody. I suspect she'll be out there with Cody for Full Gear as well. She'll probably have some fantastic dress set up just for the occasion. But it makes it weird when she is sitting there drinking wine and talking about how she's not in charge of the women's division and she has no authority. And I'm thinking, yeah, you do. We've seen you in these segments with Cody. We've heard you talking about Cody. If he's in charge in management at any level, you have some say. You have some sway in the company. So I thought it was weird for her to be like, I don't have any say in things around here. And talking about Awesome Kong and basically, you've got the brawn, I've got the brain, let's make lots of money. So I don't know that the Pet Shop Boys necessarily are going to be singing at an AEW event, but that's the way it sounded to me, was you've got the brawn, I've got the brains, let's make lots of money. And it could work. The thing is, Awesome Kong can't work a regular schedule. Maybe Brandy doesn't want to either. Maybe Brandy's like, I'll come out for pay-per-views. But it's weird because she attacked Jamie Hayter 2 weeks ago, and then she did this, and now who's the good guy? Who's the bad? Like, I get it. Like, I understand, and I said how there's shades of gray with the Omega Moxley feud, but this is weird. It's really weird. So is Jamie Hayter eventually going to be against Awesome Kong? Like, does that, or was that just, I'm just going to attack somebody backstage? It might as well be this new girl. I don't know. But I do enjoy that it's a whole new cast, and it's a whole new show, and it's a whole new company, and it feels like wrestling. I'm going to be, keeping myself 100 here. I did fast forward through parts of matches, especially the main event, because I understood that the main event was a vehicle to get us to that schmoz finish. And I knew there was going to be some big finish for it. And so I wanted to get to that. And since it was recorded, I'm like, I want to get to the finish. I really want to see the finish. I want to see how this happens and what happens. And it was fantastic. So they've built the card very well. We'll see what the numbers are like for this pay-per-view. I think it's going to be pretty strong. I understand that, and I haven't seen the ratings yet for this week. I wouldn't be surprised to see the ratings drop. I wouldn't be surprised to see people celebrating the failure of AEW and, this company's going to go down. But it takes a while to build things up. And there are wrestlers in this company that are going to get built up, that are going to be stars. And, like, for instance, I was mentioning with, like, Jamie Hayter. Sean Spears is another one. Spears was really treated like a nobody by WWE for the most part. the 10 chant was kind of treated like it was a joke, sort of like a Zack Ryder kind of thing. And it's too bad because he can wrestle. He's a very good wrestler. Sean Spears is a very good wrestler, and him with Tully Blanchard, it just works. So there are wrestlers on this card and just in this company that I think, as it evolves, and it will, that we'll see some really, really strong feuds, wrestlers, and some big stars created out of this. So I don't really care about the week-to-week ratings as much. I don't think AEW will either. I'm not saying whether or not TNT does. They may very well care greatly about the ratings. But I think the most important thing is tell your story, lay the groundwork, build it up properly, and I think the numbers will come. I think it'll happen. I don't think professional wrestling will ever be the big deal it was in the late 90s. We're never going to have another Attitude Era, no matter how much people want it. The audience has changed, and we're never going to see pro wrestling back to its numbers from its heyday. But we could still see a very strong company here. And as I thought in Cody's speech, the quote that I liked the most was where he said it was Ellis Island, where it was freedom for pro wrestlers, meaning, for wrestlers who were in WWE and felt that they were being told what to say at all times and what to do, and that their whole life was surrounded by, okay, here's what you have to do. Once you're in AEW, you can wrestle for other companies, depending on the contract you've got signed. You only have to worry about the 1 or 2 nights a week. You don't have to worry about a massive schedule. Eventually, they're going to be touring, and it's going to pick up. But they've said it will never be a WWE level of touring. And that they're going to do their best to make sure that the wrestlers are well taken care of, they're healthy, and that they're not dealing with some of the things that the other companies deal with. It's not just WWE. There are other companies out there too that overwork wrestlers. So I'm very, very encouraged by what I've seen so far through the first 7 weeks, 6-7 weeks. There are things that like the Brandy Road stuff. I have no idea where that's going. I don't know what they're doing with it. And the tag team wrestling, are there too many false finishes? Probably. But when you have Private Party in there, man, those guys are exciting. They're fun to watch. They are kind of fantastic. And the one tag team I'm kind of lost on is Dark Order. What are they going to do with these guys? So are they just going to lose every week? Are they going to be contenders? Because win-loss records are supposed to matter, and these guys have now lost 2 weeks in a row. I don't know where they're going with them. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.